premise, understand a concept that you can change your thinking, which allows you to change your behavior and will allow you to experience better health. So I want to start out with some good news, because there's so much bad news in the world right now. I think it's good that we start actually with a little bit of good news. So the good news, looking at Nigeria and looking at your health throughout the country, I studied the different rates of chronic disease in Nigeria and what are the risks. And I compared it to what's going on here in the United States, what things are similar and what things are different. So Alzheimer's disease, it's a very low risk of Alzheimer's disease in Nigeria. I was impressed that although it is increasing slowly, it is a lower risk in your country. Chronic inflammation that we're going to talk about can cause Alzheimer's disease. Now again, it's climbing like all the rest of the world, but at a lower rate. Cancer rates, again, although they're increasing at a lower rate than what we see here in the United States. In the United States here, 1 out of every 2 people will hear the phrase from a doctor, "You have cancer." So, and it's important for you to learn from other areas of the country as you embrace more Western mindsets on food and stress and lifestyle, that you know what risks are involved with that type of lifestyle. And it's a massive increase in the risk of cancer. But unfortunately, there are also some other news that we have to talk about, is other risks that are increasing. Heart disease was very, very low in Nigeria, but we're starting to see about a 20% increase in hypertension, which is a precursor to heart disease. The Journal of African Health Sciences showed in 2017 that we're starting to see an increase in hypertension. A big concern is in a teaching university, a teaching hospital. They showed that 17% of all the deaths at that hospital were from stroke. That's really high, and it's being showcased in other studies in Nigeria. That stroke is increasing, and it's a very high risk of death in the country. Other concerns is things like diabetes. Although diabetes is significantly lower in Nigeria than in the United States, what it's important for you to understand is trends. So when you're looking at your health, the health of your children, the health of your grandchildren, and you start to see these things start to scale, it's important for you to look at your behaviors and why is our health beginning to deteriorate. About a 2.6-fold increase in diabetes in Nigeria over about the last decade. From 2002 to 2010, over an 8-year period of time, only 8 years, we saw a 40% increase in obesity in Nigeria. And this is the biggest concern here, because once the obesity climbs, all the other diseases follow right behind obesity. Another one in Nigeria that was of high concern to me is the mental state in Nigeria. 15 million Nigerians currently experience depression and anxiety, and this is starting to scale. A very big concern that we have to deal with in Nigeria. So the question is, what is the cause? Unfortunately, Dr. K opened the bag and already told you the answer to the problem. with a couple of really great videos that expressed in detail what goes on in the body when the body goes through a process of inflammation. So I can't say this is the only cause, but it's probably one of the most significant causes and most overlooked causes of disease, and that's inflammation. So when we think of inflammation, we think about our shoulder swollen, our jaw hurt because we slept wrong, our back hurting and it swells up, our foot. In this example, you see on the left side, they sprained their ankle. Look at the size of the left foot compared to the right foot. That's inflammation. So we want to look at inflammation like Dr. Kuyinu was mentioning Acutely, what happens? Why is inflammation there? Inflammation is a beautiful process the human body utilizes to repair. So what it does is this ankle on the left-hand side.
Are you sharing, Dr. Joe? Are you sharing your screen? We can't see your screen yet.
Oh my goodness!
I was like, I can only see your face, and it's a good view, but we need the screen.
I can't believe you weren't seeing my slides. I am sorry. Okay, let me.
Yes.
Okay, I have to. I spent 2 hours creating slides, so I got to show you my slides.
Oh yeah. And thank you for all the work that you put into this. We truly appreciate that.
You're welcome. So just reiterating, Alzheimer's disease, cancer is lower in Nigeria than we see in a lot of the other countries, but it's scaling. We talked about hypertension. We have about a 20% of people experience hypertension. Stroke is my biggest concern. 17% of deaths in the country are now experienced from stroke. All the references are below, so you can get a copy of these slides, Dr. K, and you can distribute if anyone wants the research. Diabetes, we talked about. Diabetes, 2.6% increase, and that's out of diabetes therapy. This is talking about diabetes in Nigeria. All my research was in Nigeria. That we talked about an 8-year span, a 40% increase in obesity in Nigeria. Very big concern. This is the World Health Organization published a study, and they showcased a number of different countries in Africa, Nigeria being one of them. And again, raising 40% in 8 years. Guys, think about that. In another 8 years, what do we have? We have over 100% increase in our rates of obesity, and it's continued to scale. In the US, this was the downfall of the American healthcare system. It's the obesity that's caused secondary diseases. When you die of a heart attack, they don't put obesity on the little tag that goes on your toe when you're in the morgue. They put heart disease. They don't put diabetes. They don't put cancer. No, I'm sorry. They don't put obesity. They put cancer, heart disease, stroke. But really, what is the cause of those diseases? And we're finding the increase of obesity as being an underlying cause of all those diseases. We also talked about Well-Being Woman, an organization, wrote an article on depression in Nigeria and anxiety, and it's 15 million Nigerians experience depression or anxiety on a daily basis, and this is starting to scale too. And all of these conditions are associated with a cause of inflammation. So this is what I was showing when we find out you were staring at me, not this foot. Is this person, you know, sprained their ankle? They stepped off a curb and rolled their ankle, and look what happened to the foot on the left versus the foot on the right. It's larger in size. Well, this is a brilliant process of the body because the body's trying to repair a torn, broken piece of material in the body. So what happens is the blood vessel leaks out immune cells to kind of clean up a lot of the garbage. It throws a lot of fluid out of the bloodstream into the area to kind of stabilize it because it's weak. It needs to be stabilized. So it fills with fluid. It fills with immune cells. And then it opens the blood vessels so we can bring tools and materials. We need workers. We need materials. We got to rebuild this tissue here. So you got construction going on in here. And that's what inflammation is happening. We got a lot of work going on. The issue, and this is common in things like injuries that you see here, but we also get inflammation with infections. We get inflammation with allergies. How many of you have had allergies where you feel like your head's going to explode? You have watery eyes, dripping nose, your head feels pressure headache. That's inflammation, okay? So inflammation can be caused by a reaction with the environment. That's what an allergy is. It could be caused by a reaction with an invader, which is an infection, or it could be from a trauma. You play soccer and you hit the next person, your shoulder swells up. because you damage tissue and the body has to send inflammation to fix the area. The issue that occurs with inflammation is that if it occurs inside of your body, your entire body, that inflammation is occurring all over your bloodstream. That's when the danger occurs. So normally inflammation has 5 different factors. It turns red, it swells, it gets hot, you feel pain, and you lose function. Well, what if this happened in your heart? Your heart's already red, right? So it's not going to change. Can you feel swelling of the heart? No, you won't see it because it's in your chest. Can it get hot? Yeah, it can get hot. Would you feel pain? Well, you may get some chest pain, maybe. Loss of function. What is loss of function? Well, by the time you know you have inflammation in your heart, you may have a heart attack. And what's 40% of the time the first sign of heart disease? I want to see in the chat here. Is that chat? Can I see that chat?
Yeah.
So post in the chat, tell me what the first sign of heart disease is. 40% of the time, what do you think the first sign of heart disease is? I just opened the chat here, good. So someone answer in the chat. I'm making you guys engage with me.
Good. And I also want to say at this point is that if you have, as we're going on, please post your questions on the chat. Mrs. Olukobomi will gather them. So please post your questions on the chat.
Bio, how are you, sir? Inflammation. Yes, the first sign of heart disease, 40% of the time worldwide, is death by heart attack.
Death.
So is death. So you're on the floor, your heart stops moving, and that's your first sign. 40% of the time, guys. Think about that. So it's really hard when your heart stops forever for you to make change to your lifestyle. So that's 40% of the time. So the issue of inflammation, the problem can be it's too much of a good thing. Inflammation's good, but if it inflames your heart and your lungs, and the issue used to be, thanks for another, chest burning, stuff feeling in the chest. Yes, that is a sign, but 40% of the time it's actually death by heart attack. What they were saying, the researchers, is like, well, I don't think inflammation's really causing disease. It could maybe affect the heart a little bit. Now, it's a known fact. Inflammation is causing heart disease, is causing diabetes. They said it can't cross the blood-brain barrier. It can't cross the bag that your brain is in. It won't go in there. Well, now they say it does cross the brain, and your brain is on fire. Your brain is inflamed, and the immune cells of the brain start attacking your own tissue. So it's like your brain is on fire. So
I know how that feels.
The issue that occurs is in these organs, guys, not just the brain and the heart, but the liver, the pancreas for diabetes, all the different ones. When we look at the brain, you know, we look at things like Alzheimer's disease. I told you it's not as high there, but it is high in depression and anxiety, and it's climbing. So there's research showing exactly the mechanism of how inflammation reduces serotonin creation, which is a happy hormone. How many of you would rather have more of the happy hormone? Raise your hand. Or give me or say you want to be happy on this on your chat here. So all of us would rather have more happy hormone, because when we have the unhappy hormone or the stress hormones they talked about in the video, cortisol, what we do to get the happy feeling is we eat sugar. Sugar goes in the receptors in our brain looking for the happy hormone. It can't find it, but sugar makes it feel good, and that's what creates the addiction. Now, your addiction may be sugar, but it could also be cocaine, alcohol, could be anything that fills the receptors in the brain that make you feel good. We don't eat sugar because we're hungry. We eat sugar because we want to change how our brain feels. And some of this is caused just by inflammation. When we look at the heart, we talked about heart disease, and we also talked about stroke. So what happens in the heart and the blood vessel, so you have a tube, and you have a buildup of inflammation. the inflammatory cells start to stick to the wall of your blood cell. So inside of this tube, you got a little lump on there, and then more immune cells go because they're trying to attack it. They don't know why there's a clump of immune cells and debris. So it starts adding more, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it takes that hole, and it makes the hole about that big, and that's what causes heart disease and strokes. So the question is, like, what do we do? What can we do? You watch the videos, you've listened to my correlation of all these diseases that are associated to this inflammation. How do you reduce the inflammation? The acute inflammation, like your ankle, your shoulder, your back, if it hurts, and you injure it, you want to allow it to have inflammation, but you want to slowly pull the inflammation out, let it come back, pull it out. So icing the tissue with an ice pack for about 20 minutes at a time on like a low back will make the blood vessels constrict and push out the inflammation. And you stop icing, the inflammation comes back, heals more, and it kind of helps that cycle move forward. We can't ice inside our heart. We can't ice other areas, but that's not acute inflammation. That inflammation's been going on and on and on, day after day after day. If you keep that ankle swollen for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, the tissue's going to break down. You do not want inflammation in your ankle for 3-4 years. Many of you on this call have inflammation in your heart for years, decades, only degrading the tissue. So what do we do? What do you think? Someone tell me on the chat here. Do we just take more drugs? Is it a lack of drugs? Do we need to take more and more medication? Is that the answer to our problems of inflammation? Well, that's what the pharmaceutical industry wants you to believe. Their goals for you in Nigeria from 2016, where you were investing $1.4 billion on pharmaceuticals on the left side. It says 1.4, that's billions of dollars. Look on the right side. In an optimistic case, they want you to be buying $4 billion worth of drugs by 2026. So the next 6 years, they want you consuming 4 times more medication per person than you're consuming right now. That's the goals of the pharmaceutical industry. So I have different goals for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is we're going to cut down your sugar intake because we're not going to be as stressed. We talked about stress. Reduce the stress. Learn to laugh. Enjoy your day. Deep breathe. Meditate. Pray. Have gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. Change some of the way you work with this guy up here and allow you not to have these addictions and the need for sugar to feel better. We reduce the smoking. Smoking is one of the best ways to increase full body inflammation. We reduce the overconsumption of alcohol. A glass of red wine is anti-inflammatory. A full bottle of scotch is not anti-inflammatory. So in moderation, enjoy a drink, but do it in moderation. And we also want to reduce our consumption of fast foods. As you can see, more and more fast food being brought into Nigeria, those are inflammatory foods that will continue to cause the disease. So what things can we do? And the things that we can start doing is eating a more anti-inflammatory diet. Now, I know if this was in Nigeria, it's going to be covered with so much spice that it's going to make my tongue turn red. But I enjoyed a lot of the spicy foods when I was in Nigeria, so I loved the cooking. But we're going to use as much vegetables as we can. Okay, guys, eat as much vegetable as you can. The other thing we want to do is make sure we're consuming half of your body weight in water a day. So if you take your body weight, you weigh 150 pounds or 200 pounds, you want 100 ounces of water a day. You weigh 100 pounds, you want 50 ounces of water a day. So half of your body weight in ounces and space it up throughout the day. I have one of these, which is about 500 milliliters of water. So I need 4 of these a day. I fill this twice at work, and I have the same glass at my house, and I do at least 2 That's a minimum that I need per day. I drink a lot more than that, but have something at your workplace and at your home that you know that you're consuming that water throughout the day. If you drink things like soda or other juices, you can have that after you get your water intake a day, because I don't want you starting your day with sugar water or high fruit juices or sodas. After you're done with your water consumption, you want to enjoy a little bit, then that's your decision. We want to eat better healthy fats like avocados and salmon and walnuts and healthy oils is very important for the body. And those are the lifestyle changes that we can implement into the body. I see some notes here. Thank you for adding comments and questions. You alkalinize our system. Very, very important. Thank you for saying that. Create an alkaline environment. We eat such acidic foods that sugar, although it's also going to cause inflammation and throw off your blood sugar, it creates your body to be very acidic. And that increases inflammation. Improve nutrition, very good. Change your lifestyle, exercise your body. Literally, being sedentary and just sitting on the couch and not going through activity will cause an increase in inflammation. Exercise is vitally important to the lifestyle. But it's hard to engage in exercise when we're eating fast food and sugar and our energy is so low because of our poor food choices. So in my belief, the way you make these changes is first change your thinking. Live in a state of gratitude. That's number one for me. Learn how to deep breathe, get more oxygenation in your body. Then change your diet. Then really kick on the exercise. You can do it all at once, but I find if we can increase our energy levels and our mood, we get more consistency with our exercise. Dr. Rhodes, great point. Good sleep. Poor sleep literally causes inflammatory markers to raise in the body. Poor sleep changes your hormonal makeup, so you crave more sugar and you have more inflammation. It's a proven fact, poor sleep alone, even if with a good diet, can cause your body to increase inflammation. Awesome. I love having all these brilliant people on here helping guide me here. This is too easy. Come on, Shauna. Shauna's not commenting. I'm getting a little complex here. Let's see, Shauna. Okay, so I want to open it up for any other questions. And I also want to give one more comment. If you can't meet these, Shauna gave me a smile. Very good. Love it. Thank you, Shauna. If you can't meet these expectations, it is okay to supplement using the right oils in your body to help your body overcome inflammation. If your body's overtaken in inflammation, it would be like your home on fire. Like inflammation is in your body on fire. If I had my garbage can behind me that had fire in it, I could throw this cup of water on it and I could stifle that fire. If my whole house is on fire, I'm going to need a lot more water. When your whole body's under inflammation, you can't just eat a couple walnuts and think that your body's going to change. You need to change the inflammatory process. So I will say that you can supplement. I'll go over a couple of key products if you use supplementation, but I don't want you to think that is, you can do that and not worry about quality sleep or quality food or good attitude. It's a supplement, meaning you add to it. You don't replace the good habits.
Let me, before you enter into that, let me just add a few things to what you have said. Is that okay?
Yes, perfect.
And then you will talk about, thank you so much. I just want to reiterate some of the things you said. You talked about acute and chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation is important, just like Dr. Joe said, is our own body's way of keeping us healthy and bringing about healing. And and he explained that to us, how our body will bring in some chemicals and will destroy all those agents that have come in, and then we begin to build new cells and we cause redness. But then the problem is when we are living a lifestyle in which we are constantly putting our bodies under stress, where either through the things we bring into our body, that our body sees them as dangerous, our body will send cells to attack those things. And so if that is what we are doing every day non-stop, our body does that with sugar, our body does that with certain food we eat, and certain fats like margarine, like trans fats, the margarine. Your body sees all these things as enemies, as this is not what you were created for. So your body, in helping you, will go and start attacking those things, and and in the process, and if that is what you are doing every day, MSG in our food, the sugar, the margarine, the alcohol, the processed meat, the coloring, the additives, all those things, if the quantity of those is so much compared to the quantity of anti-inflammatory food, I discovered, as Dr. Joe have shown, that nature has given us so much anti-inflammatory food. And I was also doing the research as he was doing, and I felt that many of our normal food, our normal fish, salmon or mackerel, tilapia, many of these fish have omega-3 oil, which is anti-inflammatory. We also found out that our black pepper, our ginger, our turmeric, even our pepper, they are all, even pawpaw, moringa, they are all anti-inflammatory. And so really what this calls on us, what this is telling me, because I am also learning and changing my lifestyle, because I have seen what, stress, I shared with how my hair started dropping off. And many times we don't even realize how much stress we are putting on our bodies. And so it's a life of balance that this is calling for us as a start. Like Dr. Joe says, change of behavior for us is a call for more of a life of balance. How much, I might never stop taking, it's not like, oh, I will never take cake in my life, but for every cake, one slice of cake I take, how much of anti-inflammatory food am I putting into my body? Do I sit on cake, on sugar, or on those packet juices? Even the orange juice, try all these juices in packet that are just, they don't have fiber in them. You just pour them, a whole glass of juice. The amount of sugar that has loaded into my system is different from if I take the orange or the apple and I eat it as a whole. And so I ask myself, how am I balancing? How much of the good stuff am I putting in daily in exchange for the processed one? Yeah, sometimes life happens, sometimes I'm so busy, I'm in a hurry, I just buy a chips, I buy something to eat. That is not going to destroy me, as long as I'm focusing on putting in, on a daily basis, I'm taking enough water, I'm putting in the nuts, I'm putting in those healthy, natural things that God has provided. Also, we have, especially in Africa, we have so much natural resources. I call us the jungle of Africa, the forest, the teas, and all of that. I will share, when you are done, I will share my screen to show something that I have there, bitter gourd, which is bitter, but you can actually make it into a tea, and then we have the sun that can help us dry some of these leaves. I recently did an experiment. I don't know, can you see me? Can you see what I'm lifting up?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually got, and let me share this screen quickly with you. And then Dr. Joe can share his screen. I just want to share, because I want to make this as real to us as possible. This is called bitter gourd. And I have found out that this herb, this thing, helps to lower blood pressure, helps to reduce sugar, in the body. Now, the reality of life is that our life is not meant for us to live on medication. Our life is meant for us to eat balanced meals. But just like Dr. Joe will also show us, some of us are so deficient that as a start, we might need to supplement. We will need, for many of us, I've had to do supplementation. I've supplemented with fruits and vegetables in capsules. I've supplemented with ginkgo biloba for my brain. I've supplemented, I use doTERRA, I've supplemented. I've gone on Dr. Joe's cleanse, ultimate cleanse, to detox my whole system, get rid of all the, and I think Dr. Joe, you need to talk briefly about those detox, or, just for 1 minute. Now, I saw this bitter gourd and I'm like, I don't take enough bitter things. And it's not a mistake that our tongue has sweet, bitter, sour, and salty, because it is designed to taste all this food. Many of us can't remember the last time anything bitter enters our life, but it has a role. And we talked about it with Dr. Rose the last time, of how important our bile is in our whole body health. And so I got this bitter gourd as it is. And then I bought it and I said, do you know what? I can't, it's difficult. It's bitter to eat. And then I went ahead and I dried it. And we have sunshine. We have sun to dry. This took only about 2 days to dry, or 3 days. I dried it and then I blended it. And I made it into a tea. And I put it in a little cup, and I take it and I mix it. I'm actually going to blend it with some ginger. I'm drying some ginger. I'm drying some oranges, and I'm going to make it into tea. So some of these things, you just, you can make them. We have so much of that. You can make them into teas, even if you can't eat them. And with the teas in the morning or in the evening, you take those teas and you are putting in the anti-inflammatory things into your body. You are putting in the things that will help distress your bodies. And so I just wanted to add that to the things that Dr. Joe have said. What have I done? Have I taken everybody off? Dr. Joe, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, so you can go ahead. And so I wanted to add that. And so please, I also want to say, please, if you have questions, start putting in your questions. As I said, today is a special edition in which we are going to, because we had so much to talk about, I didn't want to take time from you getting answers to your questions like before. And so we are going to give extra time for questions. So Dr. Joe, go ahead and.
Great. I appreciate you.
And then Dr. Shona also would like to say something before you talk about your ultimate cleanse. I have so many people online. I have Dr. Shona, I have Dr. Rhodes. So Dr. Rhodes, if you want to say 1 minute of something to help us. You can bring
Shona on to say a few words, and Dr.
Yes,
Rhodes.
Dr. Shona, I have you on. I've made you a co-host, so you can unmute yourself.
All right. Whoops. Wow, I think she was upset.
To say also, she's very passionate about natural health. But what I wanted to mention is, when you started talking about, health and healthy foods and a healthy lifestyle, when we look at, the healthcare system, which is, a sick care system, in that word health is the word heal. And the things that we should be doing when it comes to our bodies, when we look at the chat and we were looking at all of the things that contribute to health or healing, there are things like getting better sleep, exercise, eating healthy foods, all of those things that are the things that contribute to, a healthy cells, which in turn lead to a healthy body. And then, as, my colleague, Dr. Joe would mention, as we look at ways that we cut inflammation, whether it's, the processed foods, the unhealthy fats, all of those things that take away from our body's ability to heal. There's certain things that we have to do to contribute to our body's natural healing, or its innate ability to heal itself. Yeah. As well. So when we're looking at a healthy lifestyle and we're taking something such as inflammation, those are the things, or that's the mindset that we have to start getting ourselves into. What is it that we can do, or what is it that we can take that's going to contribute to healing our body as opposed to creating inflammation or taking away from it? So just the ability to, start thinking along those lines and making that the type of mindset that we're starting to live in. The food choices that we make, what is it going to do? How does it contribute to healing?
Yeah.
And not, being something that destroys our body. So I just wanted to share that as well. And we can.
And that is so powerful, to just say that, Dr. Shona. Dr. Shona has a PhD in clinical nutrition, and thank you for contributing that. We need to start seeing food as medicine. I think that began to change for me as we see food as medicine and not just something for pleasure or something, but that food has the power, to bring healing and restoration for our bodies. My people are saying they need to do some announcement quickly. And so give me one moment to quickly do announcement, and then we Dr. Joe, Dr. Joe, talk about your detox. We do the announcement and we take all the questions. Okay.
Talk about it now? Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, I think when we're talking about this, the more I'm trying to find my slides. Give me 1 second here. When we talk about this inflammation, I'm realizing that this could be a 10-session course, because we can talk about sleep and inflammation. Toxicity is another whole lecture that has to do with inflammation, which we'll talk about for a second. We have autoimmune diseases that are caused by inflammation, which is the same process here. The body's attacking itself due to excess inflammation. So
I agree with you, Dr. Joe. I think we are going to have to do part 1, part 2, part 3, because honestly, this cannot be done in one session, talking about all those things. So you have already committed yourself by saying this to coming back again for about 5 more sessions. So we are taking that.
Because we won't go into big detail on toxicity, but the toxins that we inhale from pollution that we put in our mouth with our food, from what we put on our skin, that all those toxins store in the body and drive inflammation. Wow. Like this salmon here on the table. Salmon, if you buy it farm raised, first, fresh caught, has one of the highest level of PCBs, which is a chemical toxin that will live in your body for over 10-year half-life, meaning that it stores in your body about 100% for over 10 years. So it'll be in the body for the rest of your life in most cases if you eat farm raised, because it's full of toxins. So we have to be more aware. I don't want to make the public paranoid and worried about everything, but I want to make you really aware. Like Dr. Kuyinu was saying, let food be thy medicine. Just no source. I love what she did. She grabbed the product, she saw it, she dried it, she made it into powder, and she took it down from a thought into something she applied as a medicine into her body. That's a healing way of doing this, because she's learning through that cycle, and she has massive appreciation for what she had in her hand. So the last thing I'd say is product-wise, there are products you can add. We have brought our product line into Nigeria, but I just want to talk about the concept of, if you're going to take something like a fish oil, that reduces inflammation. You've probably heard of a fish oil. Over here on the side is a bottle of fish oil. You have to be careful of fish oil if you buy it and it's not a certified oil, because it could be rancid oil. So that little insignia, IFOS, is an international organization that tests and certifies oils to make sure you don't buy rancid oil on the shelf, because rancid oil is poisonous. So you have to be careful. You don't want to make mistakes when buying liquid oil. You do not want to buy the cheapest one on the shelf, because it's usually rancid. So you can buy it in capsules or liquid. And I have it right here on my desk, because I take a swig of this literally out of the bottle once a day, and that's the oil to make sure that I reduce my inflammation. The other thing you can use, on the right, it says a product called Mobility. You guys have some of the best turmeric in the world. That's what's in this product, is turmeric. You can just add more and more to your diet. If you're extremely inflamed, you may need capsules because you may need 10, 12 of them a day in the beginning. If you're not in excessive inflammation, just add it to your diet and get used to using turmeric as a source of food, because that reduces inflammation. So that I just wanted to go over those. Turmeric on one side, in a product form, we have it called Mobility, but in a food, you can add it as a spice to your food. And the other is fish oil. Make sure you only use product. You don't have to use our product, but you want to use a product with IFOS label on it, which knows that it's safe oil. That's important, the IFOS. It's an agency out in Europe that tests products to make sure they're safe for you to consume. Okay.
Wonderful. I think you didn't have time to talk about your detox, because I'm in love with that. I always talk about that because I went through the 10 days detox.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
And that was amazing for me, because I felt like a new body of just getting rid of, you want to use 20 seconds to say what is in that detox.
Yes, the detox program is a 10-day cycle to help your body eliminate the stored toxins, like I said, in the salmon, the pollution, the medications you take, all that stores in your body and begins to break down the body. So the detox program is a 10-day cycle that you do. The side effects are more energy, weight loss, better sleep, reduced pain. That's the side effects, because we're reducing the toxins in your body, your inflammation goes down, and you feel a lot better. What I'd like to do is do a detox challenge where we get 50 people in Nigeria all doing it on the same day. Then I can get on every day. We'll have a Facebook group, and every day I'll go live, and we'll teach what you should feel and expect on day 1, what you expect on day 2, and then everyone works together because we're all eating healthier. We're all learning and we're posting our meals and our teas and the foods. So we're learning how to change behavior together.
I love that. I love that. It's a 10-day detox challenge. Well, I would like to get on that. And and the good news is Dr. Joe has when he was going to, as we talked with him, we said you have to do something for Nigeria, and he agreed to get his product to Nigeria at a 50% discount. So if you need any one of that, you go to asiva.com, and if you are from Nigeria, you'll be able to get a 50% discount. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Joe. We really appreciate that. And I definitely love the 10-day challenge that we can go ahead to do the for 50 people to get on a 10-day challenge. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Joe.
Yeah, I'd like to limit it to 50 so that we can have some engagement. So if you want to do it, post in the chat that you're interested, and we'll go up to 50. That's still a lot of people, but we don't want it where we can't have engagement, where there's just too much and no one feels connected. We'll answer all your questions along the journey. We have questions here. Can a prostate cancer patient over 70 use the hardest heart and speak life into my soul? And who can spin the world around and hold me ever close? And who can search the depths of me and love me to the core? And who controls the world I see and walks me through it all?